Hello everyone, welcome back to today's video. Today we are discussing 2026 quarterly wrap-up number 1. So we have January, February, and March. Those 3 reading months I'm going to be wrapping up in this video. So with that being said, I think I've read 9 books during those 3. Actually, let me see. Okay. So the verdict's in. It was 10 books I read in 3 months. Now that is definitely not how I roll. So I am very much offended by myself. Usually I read 6 books in 1 month. So having read 10 books in 3 months is not great. Not great at all. I think I've been in a little bit of a slump. There's been much things on my mind. I am moving lifely. I am moving through life steadfastly. Is that even used correctly? April is definitely, I think right now I've read 2 books in April and it's like the midway mark. Not the best, but not the worst. So we'll see how that all goes. But anyway, let's get into firstly January's wrap up. The first book I read in January was The Long Game. This is a part of the Game Changers series by Rachel Reed. Now, of course, if you have not watched the show, please do. It's amazing. It's gorgeous. It's literally the best show that's ever made. And I am not one to say that, but it is. No arguments here. That is just, that's just the verdict, okay? That is what the judge has said. Me being the judge. This book is a reread, especially because firstly, I think I read at the end or middle-ish of December. I decided I needed to reread it because as much as it put me in pain, I did love it. So with all of that being said, I give it a 4.5 star. You're probably wondering why it wasn't a 5-star. I couldn't exactly tell you why. I didn't get those 5-star feelings, and we all know. It just wasn't there. But this was the technically first book I read of 2026. This book follows Ilya and Shane in their love story. It is part 2 of their love story. Heated Rivalry is the first book in their now trilogy that's going to be coming out next year, sadly. But I'd rather have a good book and a good show than not. So with that being said, I don't really want to spoil anything, especially because y'all need to read this entire series. So I just will leave it at this is an hockey rivals romance slow burn. Just gonna name tropes over here. There is traumatic responses. There's just a whole bunch of goodness in there. And then the love between them. My OTP. So that's the first book. The second book I read is going to be For the Fans by Nayla K. This is also an romance. This is a taboo romance between stepbrothers. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Why would you read that? However, it interested me only because I've heard amazing things about this book, so how could I not, And it also has these gorgeous sprayed edges and this new-ish cover, I believe. These heart stuff wasn't on the cover before, I think, and they're like shiny, I am one for shiny things. So that is where that basically is. I rated this a 3.75, which is above average for me. Like, I consider 3 stars average. So if it's anything above, then I enjoyed it. I don't remember exactly why I didn't give this higher stars. I didn't write anything down, which in my reviews, I really should start writing things down so I actually could speak about why I didn't love this book. I think that this is very spicy, very, very spicy, because as you can probably presume from the cover, it's about a certain website that you do things for the fans. They both get into this deal about making money together. And that's kind of where we start off. I actually listened to the audiobook for this, and that was very helpful, I will say, because this is a thick book. Let's see how many pages. Almost 500 pages for this book. Yeah. So it was just like above average, And that's all I have for you. That is all I have. And I think this is a standalone because it left off on a happy ending. So I am currently reading, I know this is not like an April wrap up, but I'm currently reading Brainwashed by Nyla K, and I'm like halfway through it and I put it down. So it's not like a DNF or anything. I'm still going to read it because I came this long, and it's also like 500-ish pages. So she just loves a thick book. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand. Alright, and moving on, we have Prince Material. This book is also an MM romance. It's between, I think, the Prince of the Netherlands, I want to say something like that, and he came to study it. You know, I'm not quite sure. This was 4 months ago, who would have thought? So not quite sure, but either way, this is a nice cozy read. It's nothing too serious. It's funny, it's witty, and it's cute, and that's kind of what I needed in that moment of time, because I was still crashing out over the Game Changer series. And I did give this a 4-star, with it being cozy, exactly what I needed. It was cute. It was good. It was good. Alright, and the next book is Kiss the Villain by Rena Kent. Yes, absolutely yes. This, I will tell you immediately, 4.5 stars. So good, so good. I don't know why people didn't love this series, or not this series, this book at least, because it's so good. Gareth and Caden, also dark romance though. This is a spin-off series of the Legacy of God series. This is kind of following the side characters of that series-ish, or at least characters who didn't get their book in the Legacy of God series. So Gareth is the brother of the first book in the Legacy of God series. He kind of realizes that he has an attraction to his professor. Yes, professor. Now, I'm not one for a teacher-student relationship kind of thing, but obviously they're above age, so that's good. I don't know. I just kind of really liked it. There's not quite a lot of scenes that took place in the college area, so there's not much of it like doing all of that. Now, I will say that there are some things that I didn't love about this book. That being, there was always a, oh my gosh, we can't be together because of the relationship, and at some point you just gotta be like, you know what, let's move on. Like, let's move on with this. It gets to a point. With that being said, it's 4.5 stars. I mean, you can't really go wrong. You can't really go wrong with Rena Kent and her MM, so I do. I really, really love this story. And obviously I loved it. I tabbed the heck out of it. I read it on Kindle, and I was annotating it, and I actually went through 2 tabs, like 2 sets of tabs. So there we go. Oh, I forgot that this one has artwork in it. Gorgeous. Yeah, I have tabs for romance, sad, and quotes. And I think I did post some quotes on my Instagram, so go on over there if you want to see those quotes. So next we have Blitzed by Lee McCormick and R.S. Mackenzie. This book is another sport romance. I think it's Hockey Rivals again. Or no. Okay, yeah, it is a Rivals. So it is a Rivals hockey romance. Of course, MM. You can't go wrong. So this book I really enjoyed. I gave it a 4.25 stars. It's quick, it's bingeable, and I was very addicted to what was happening in the story. It has like good angst, and I love good angst. So actually, it's not a hockey romance, it's a football romance. They rival universities, so that's kind of where that comes from. And then they share a kiss, and then the MMC, one of the MMCs, becomes obsessed. So just gorgeous. Exactly what you want to hear, honestly. So you can't go wrong with that. You cannot. Alright, and How to Catch a Firefly is next by Emmy Sanders. This book I really loved at the beginning, and towards the end it kind of lost me, because yes, it is a slow burn, but I don't know, it just kind of was too slow burn, I think, or not a lot was happening, so it's kind of, you have to keep yourself interested in it, and that's kind of where the 3.75 star comes from, because at some point I was just bored. So this is about childhood friends. It's kind of like a my friend's straight kind of thing. This is an MM, by the way. If you haven't noticed the pattern, and it's just kind of, there's also a like running theme of we're friends, we can't be together kind of thing. And you know, to a certain point, that's fine. But when we get to the end and there's like not a lot left to go, you know, I just want them to be together. We've come this far. Let's just be together, you know what I mean? That's kind of why it's a 3.75. And I think the writing was also, I didn't love how it was written. Like, as I said, it's not like fast paced or action packed or anything like that. So you just kind of have to keep yourself interested. And that's kind of where it lost me, unfortunately. Yeah, 3.75 stars. It was still good. I was just expecting a lot because I've heard so many people love this book. So I think my expectations were too high. I don't know. The next book is Twisted Ink by A.M. McCoy. This book follows, it's a MMMF romance, and this is a second chance with also like the old relationship and the new relationship combining, which I love that. I love a second chance. If you didn't know, love a second chance. So this was very much up my alley, and I actually did meet the author at my place of employment. And let me show you. I got some goodies. This is what the characters look like, if you're interested. And also, I got it signed. So, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I did like this book. I really did. I gave it a 4.25 stars, which is fabulous. Fabulous. I think the only things that I didn't love was how it was basically only spice. That's kind of only what it was, and I'm not one to shy away from spice. However, when it's almost every chapter, no, you know, there has to be some kind of plot in here. It has to be. I think this is pretty short though. Yeah, like 350 pages, so I can't really complain that much because it's not like a long story, but for such like a short story, there was so much spice. So at some point you just gotta tone it down a little bit. But this is the first book in the series. I think it's just like the Twisted Ink series, I believe. And the second book follows her friend or their friend or both, and it's an MFM. So I don't think I'll be reading that one just because it's an MFM, and I like everyone to be together just because it's kind of more found family. And I love a good found family. So I did like 2 of the 3 men more just because they were more, I don't really know how to put it, is the thing. Like the other one kind of was grumpy, but in like a not, oh, he's grumpy kind of thing. It's like, no, he's like kind of mean kind of thing. And I don't really vibe with that well. So that's also another reason why it's 4.25 and not like a 5-star. Yeah, overall super good, and I do recommend it if you like an MMMF romance. So good. Alright, and next we have Iced Out by C.E. You know, I'm not sure how to quite pronounce the author's name, so we'll just go with Iced Out. This is an MM hockey romance, but it's kind of not rivals because they end up on the same team, and then they kind of have to work with being on the same team with each other, even though they hate each other. And this is a, I think, just flat out 4-star. It was super good. I can't really exactly remember why I didn't love it. However, I think it's just the characters I liked, but I didn't love. The plot, I don't think there really was a plot. I honestly can't remember much about this book. I just had a really high expectations, and obviously they did not meet that, but that could be my fault. I'm not sure. I often go into books with high expectations because I listen to everyone's reviews and they're like, this is so amazing, and then I turn out not liking it. So, story of my life. But yeah, 4 stars. 4 stars. not really sure what to say other than that because I don't really remember the book. So we'll just move on swiftly. The next book is The Tragedy of Felix and Jake. Also Get on the Train, you know what I mean? This is an addiction-based book, and they kind of like find each other and they're kind of each other's support system. And that's kind of the entirety of the book. This book I gave 2 stars. 2 stars, yeah, which is probably the lowest I will give a book because the lowest would be DNFing, and I tend to do that before I get through the book. So 2 stars. The writing, not for me. I've only ever heard amazing things about this book, which is also a result of me giving it 2 stars because I was expecting a lot. I was expecting a lot. Too much? I don't know. What I wrote in my review is that the characters seem very teenager-esque, and yeah, one was 22 and one was like around 28, I believe. And come on now, you guys can talk with each other, you guys know how to speak, you know, so that's kind of put a damper on it. And also the plot was very, very slow. Like, I don't even think there was a plot until like the halfway mark, and then it was just very slow until the very last page. So that's kind of that. And also, like, with a topic like addiction, you gotta be careful of how you portray it, and I understand that, but also like it was not very captivating. Is captivating a good word? I don't know, but that's kind of why I gave it a 2 star. All of those reasons being said, so let's move on. Let's move on. Alright, and the last book that I read in the first quarter of 2026 is My Reverend Devil and Rabbit. This is book 1 in the Runaways series. This is the only book out right at this moment that I'm filming. The second book does come out April 24th, which I immediately pre-ordered, so that's how you know I gave this book. Say it with me now. 2.5 stars. Yeah, 2.5 stars. 4.5 stars. Yeah, didn't give it a 5 star, and let me tell you why. This is a past present, which is my first ever past present book, and there is more of the past than there is of the present, which I really liked the present in the story, and I wish we had more of that. However, with that being said, the past was also very interesting. This was a very entertaining book, and I did like really everything about it. I wish it was more of the present than the past, and also to me it seems like the issue that brought them to not being together in the present was not, like, it was an issue, but it also wasn't that big of an issue, so it kind of didn't make sense. But also, like, hey, it was a good book. Like, I could look past that a little bit, but those are kind of the only 2 reasons that I gave it a 4.25 star. I mean, other than that, love the characters, love the side characters. The story was really good. The writing was really good. Like, all that being said, 4.25 stars. It's just a great book, and I really do recommend it. Most of these books were recommended to me via like Instagram, Pinterest, you know, all of those things. YouTube. I just have high expectations for almost all of these books because I got them recommended to me. So, and also, which is probably why Kiss the Villain was really high on my star rating, because I expected not amazing things considering what I've heard, and I went in and loved it. That is probably where everything stems from, expectations. So I do really recommend this book. It was so good, so very good. I just wish there was more present chapters because I really thought the present was interesting, and it led us kind of where we are going to be in the next book. This is like I don't really know if it's a interconnected standalone, because I don't think you'll need to read the first book if you want to read the second, or vice versa, but it kind of leads us into the second book, so that was really cool, which is why I pre-ordered the second book, because the ending kind of led me to that, and it was divine. Yeah, super good. And I love a like secret society kind of thing. Do they say it's a gang? It may be a gang. I did enjoy it, and I think they are in college. Our characters, they have had a past, let me tell you. Check trigger warnings maybe. And with that being said, that is my quarterly wrap up. 10 books done, hopefully more than 10 books in the second quarter wrap up, because 10 in 3 months is crazy. Cannot happen, especially if I want to get to the 50 book goal by January of 2027. So I mean, we gotta get moving. We really do. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, let me know. Let me know any other comments down below. No 5-star. No 5-star. Unfortunately, in midway through April, still no 5-star. Yeah, so not looking great. I have hopefully some great books on my TBR that I am looking at, so let's hope. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a very fantastical rest of your day. Bye!